took her right now. So it's quite clear. Thank you. You look beautiful, ma'am.
Thank you.
Please, can every other person see her?
Yes, I can.
Yes.
Yeah, she's well visible.
Hello.
All right.
Hello.
Hello, hi.
Let me spotlight Lady Oak. Christine. That's the purpose.
Good morning.
Good morning. Christine Cooper. The lady with the Lady Oak.
Yeah, we can see her. Then she's live on YouTube already. Let me share the link.
Okay, so right now we're spotlighting our Lady President. Lady President, please, can you give us a smile? Let's be sure that. Aha, so you're right there.
Let's see.
Okay. All right. So I think we're pretty much okay on the technical side. Okay, so you can. So Bellama. Lady of Bellama, can you speak now?
Yes, Lady Hetty, I need another 3 minutes. I'll be in shortly.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Everybody's looking
Mr.
very nice, sharp, ready for the day. Oh, Thelma, I like your background, sharpness of your camera, and the high definition. Very nice.
Thank you, ma'am.
Gloria, bring your camera down. Your chest is showing more than your face. No, only your head. It's okay. The level you are at is fine. Yeah. Can't hear you. You are muted. I can't hear you.
Thank you.
Yeah, somebody's head is, only the head is showing. Duchess, can see your head. Duchess. How are you?
Mr. Ikpe?
We can't hear you, Duchess. You are muted.
Please, can you send the link for the YouTube to the platform so that everybody can see it? So that those at the back end can copy the link and disseminate.
Okay, that's the WhatsApp group.
Well,
you
can put it on the you can put it on the WhatsApp group. They'll pick it up from there.
And we'll pick it up from there.
Okay.
Yeah. Put it on the WhatsApp group. They'll pick it up from there.
Good morning, everyone. Sorry, I had some challenges. In now. Can anyone see me?
Good morning,
Yes, we
Belema.
can.
Okay, thank you.
Morning.
Yes, everyone has
Morning.
tested. Good
How are
morning.
you?
Fine, thank you. Thank you. Welcome, Dr. Adedeji.
Thank you.
Yes, please. Hello, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
People we use to get this. Go, please, first try. Give it. Everybody watch that video right now so I can get it first try. For great first try. So amazing. Yes.
I will mute it.
Miss Aikwe, is my camera okay? I can't see myself.
Yes, your camera is okay, but just
It's
adjust
bright.
it a bit. Your head
It's
is
bright, but
your
it's
head
cutting
is
your
cut off.
forehead.
Okay, should I sit back or just?
All right, that's fine.
I think it's okay now.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So it's 10:01, Belema.
Hetty, do we have people join? Have people joined? The number of people, have they joined?
People are joining. We have 22 participants so far.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
Belma, you're muted. You are speaking, but you're muted.
Okay. So it's time for the event, and I'd like to take opportunity to welcome everyone to the Lady Oak webinar on drug and substance abuse. This event is designed to be a call to action.
Lady Belma, please unmute yourself. The host has muted everybody because there was a background noise, so please unmute yourself.
Okay, I have done that. I was just waiting for yeah. Okay, so can we start now?
Go ahead.
Yes, please.
Okay. All right, so welcome to the Lady Oak webinar on drug and substance abuse. This is the second in the Lady Oak webinar series, and we're grateful and glad that you are able to join us today and to reflect on this issue and this menace that is affecting our communities worldwide, in Nigeria, and especially our focus today is also for our primary target, which is the ICA LGAs and the young people, especially in our communities and on our campuses. So we have here, we'll be having here a majority of our participants will be from the Delta State University and the University of Agbo, along with other youths. But the target is our young people on campus, because that is one of the hotspots where, you know, drug issues are really challenging our young people. So we are welcome, and we're really grateful that you are able to join us. The event would last 2 hours, and we hope that you would be able to stay to the end, because we have very excellent and professional speakers who are on top of this issue, and they will be able to help us understand and prepare us to be able to respond to the issue. So you're welcome. So without much ado, I would like to invite Lady Oak Nancy Ogboy to open the event with an opening prayer. Lady Oak Nancy Ogboy is one of the founding members of the Lady Oak Association and has been here from inception over 30 years ago. Lady Oak Ogboy, please, you have the floor.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. We thank God for today. Shall we pray? This is the day the Lord has made, and indeed we are going to be glad and rejoice in it. Heavenly Father, the creator of all things, maker of the heavens and the earth. Lord, we are grateful that we are alive today because you made it so. Thank you, Lord God Almighty, for giving us the privilege to serve humanity through the platform of Lady Oak. Father, Lord, we have prepared for this program, and we know that without you, we go nowhere. And so, Lord, we are inviting your presence in our meeting and gathering today, asking, oh Lord, that you have your way, that for the purpose which this has been organized, Father, Lord, I pray that it shall be accomplished in the name of Jesus. I commit all the facilitators into your hands. I pray, Lord, that we'll have a smooth ride, oh Lord, all the way. And Father, Lord, as many that you know that need this seminar, Father, you will touch them. You bring healing to the hearts. Father, Lord God Almighty, I pray that at the end of the day, we have cause to say thank you, because we know that would have affected so many. And this, oh Lord God Almighty, will bring glory to your name. I commit all that we are going to do into your hands, oh Lord, and in your power and your mercy, through the power of the Holy Ghost, I declare this gathering open in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Ghost. Thank you because you have honored us today, and we give you praise and adoration. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Thank you.
Amen. 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 For that refreshing and encouraging prayer, Lady Ogboy. So up next, I'd like to call on Lady Oak Hetty Ubo, the current Vice President of the Lady Oak Association. Lady Oak Hetty would be giving us the opening remarks and also guiding us on how to make today effective and how to make the most of our time here with ground rules. Thank you, Lady Hetty, you have the floor.
All right, thank you very much, Lady Belema. Good morning, everyone. On behalf, it is my great pleasure to welcome each one of you to today's important on drug and substance abuse, a call to action. The Lady Oak Association is deeply committed to driving positive social change, and today's topic is a reflection of our collective responsibility to address one of the most pressing issues affecting individuals, families, and communities. Substance abuse is not just a personal issue, it's a societal challenge that knows no boundaries of age, gender, or status. The devastating effects ripple across every facet of our lives, from health to economic stability, from the young to the old. It touches all corners of society, and it is our duty, concerned individuals and organizations, to bring attention and tangible solutions to the crisis. So today's webinar is an opportunity to engage, to learn, and most importantly, to be empowered. And we are fortunate to have a lineup of subject matter experts and change makers who will share their knowledge, share their experiences and strategies for tackling this epidemic. The guest speakers are Ms. Chizoba Etuka. She's the Assistant of Narcotics, National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, and Dr. Doku Adedeji, CEO, Compassionate Care Recovery Initiative. He was former DG of Christ Against Drug Abuse Ministry, CADAM. Whether you're here as a concerned citizen, if you're here as an educator, a policymaker, your presence signals a commitment to being part of the solution. Together, we can turn awareness into action, turn prevention into intervention, and plan and pain into recovery. So I will encourage you to listen, ask questions, and then let's try and make a difference. So let us use this platform as a springboard for change, because the time to act is now. Thank you for listening. So quickly, I'm going to set some ground rules. So this will help us as we kick off the webinar. So can I please ask that everybody will mute their microphones during the meeting? You unmute yourself when you want to speak. That is when you want to ask questions or make contributions. Also be mindful of background noise, avoid distractions during the webinar, and as much as possible, stay in a quiet area. Now, when you wish to speak or ask any questions, please use the raising of hands button to be recognized, or you may write on the chat box. The moderator will call on you to take the floor, at which point you will unmute your microphone. When you're asking questions, please be concise and ask the relevant questions. As much as possible, avoid interrupting or taking over or talking over others. Finally, we will be giving recharge cards worth 1,000 Naira each to all the university students who will attend. At a point during this webinar, we will drop a link on the chat box for you to register your information, like your name, network, and telephone number. And we would like to encourage you to stay till the end of the webinar to benefit from this. Thank you very much. And at this point, I would like to turn this over to Lady Belema. Thank you, Belema, and thank you all.
Thank you, Lady Hetty. That was really good. And thank you for the recharge card. refunds for the students that will be joining today. I think that's very encouraging. And please, the students here, share the link to your friends and let them know that the Lady Oak Association will be covering their recharge card if they're able to join this event and listen in. Share the link and let them know, let them come in, and their data would be paid for. So thank you for those of you that have joined. And everyone as well, if you know any students on campuses across Nigeria, please do let them know and ask them to join this session. Thank you. Up next, I'd like to invite the president of the Lady Oak Association, Lady Oak Christine Okubo. Lady Okubo will be telling us about Lady Oak and in a brief, everything about Lady Oak, what we stand for and why we're here today. Our Lady President, welcome.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone.
Good
You
morning.
are welcome to the second edition of the Lady Oak webinar series. I want to especially welcome our resource persons, Dr. Duku Adedeji and Ms. Chizoba Etuka. Now, the Lady Oak Association is a social, philanthropic, and service-oriented group of ladies from the Ika community of Delta State. Our members are either Ika by birth or by marriage. Our mission is the holistic development of our community, Ika, with particular attention on the women folk and the youths. We do this through our established platforms of community development, female empowerment, enterprise, and healthy living. The Lady Oak has been in existence for the past 37 years. At present, we are 19 in number. The association is duly registered with the Nigerian Corporate Affairs Commission in Nigeria. Over the years, we have invested in several impact projects across Ika community and beyond. Some of these projects include regular medical interventions, such as donation of medical equipment to various hospitals and health centers in both local government areas that comprise Ika community, that Ika Northeast and Ika South. We also have free screening of vital medical checks, for example, your BP, blood sugar checks for diabetes that we do in the community. And we've also had over 5 free cervical cancer screenings. And this has been of very great impact to the women of the community. And the outcome of these screenings led us to the building of a Lady Oak Cancer Care Center, which is situated in the Central Hospital in Abo. And it is a building that cost us in the neighborhood of about 400 million. And it has been donated to the Delta State government by the Lady Oak Association in May 2023. Now, we've also engaged in having several seminars, bringing awareness of global issues to our community, such as the International Women's Day, World Menstrual Health Day, provision of wash points at the Central Hospital and the male and female prisons during the COVID era, and these are functional till date. Bringing in experts to teach our women about entrepreneurial skills and how to plan for life after retirement. We once partnered with the Dominican Fathers of the Catholic Church to open a skill acquisition center for boys and girls in Ika land. We have the IFP, which is the Ika Female Professionals Forum, where we provide a forum for Ika female professionals in Lagos to meet together, to network, and to learn skills that will lead to improving their skills in various professions where they practice their trade. We've also engaged in several charitable organizations, such as donation of Braille machines, learning aids, and walking canes to the Pacheli School of the Blind here in Lagos. We have donated several relief materials and money to several homes in Lagos here for the physically challenged and also orphanages. And we adopted a child from the SOS village here in Lagos. And she was a very young girl at about 2. And we saw her through her primary to tertiary education. And this tertiary education is in one of the foremost private universities in Nigeria, the Covenant University. Lady Oak was responsible for her fees, and today she's working in the tech industry. Very soon, we hope to launch our radio program in Delta State, where issues that are plaguing the community will be addressed. In a nutshell, that is a brief of what the Lady Oak is about. We do so many other things, and we try to use global best practices to endeavor that we mobilize and use the available resources in our means to execute our programs for the benefit of humanity and the Ika community in particular. In a nutshell, that is all about Lady Oak. Thank you.
Thank you, Lady President. That was really a nutshell, because there's so much that we've done, and you've tried to pack it all into a few minutes. Thank you. I, in particular, joined Lady Oak, started participating in Lady Oak as a volunteer for many years, participating at events, attending, speaking, supporting, and just being there because of the very interesting and touching work that I saw Lady Oak do, and eventually was invited to be a member. So this is just, again, a call to action. If you're watching us on YouTube, or if you're in the Zoom meeting and you like what you see and you feel connected and passionate about the work of Lady Oak, would like to invite you to connect with us on our website or social media, or directly with any one of our members. We are open to working with volunteers. We're open to receiving support. A lot of the work we do, as the president told you, we're only 18, but a lot of far-reaching impacts, because a lot of people have supported the work of Lady Oak financially and with their time. So you're welcome to support us and to be part of what we do. Thank you. So up next, I'd like to invite Lady Oak Franca Yemi Alayo, the Assistant Secretary of the Lady Oak Association, to introduce our first speaker. Lady Oak Alayo, please. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm here. It's my pleasure to read out the profile of Mrs. Etuka Chizoba Ifoma, Assistant Commander of Narcotics, NDLEA. Etuka Chizoba Ifoma is an Assistant Commander of the Narcotics and Principal Staff Officer at the Directorate of Drug Demand Reduction of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, Nigeria, where she is actively involved in drug control, prevention, and rehabilitation efforts. With a solid academic background, Etuka holds a Bachelor of Science in Psychology from the University of Jos and has progressed through various leadership positions within the NDLEA, demonstrating a strong commitment to public safety and drug prevention. Ms. Etuka has participated in numerous high-profile trainings and certifications, particularly through the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, where she completed programs such as Standard Policy and Practice Guideline for NDLEA counselors, drug prevention, treatment and care, sensitization, master training on drug dependence, treatment and care. Throughout her career, she has been recognized for effective communication, logical decision-making, and commitment to supporting individuals through treatment and rehabilitation. Her professional skills are complemented by passion for education, prevention, and fostering community awareness on the dangers of substance abuse. In her personal time, Etuka enjoys traveling, sports, reading, and listening to music. She brings a wealth of experience and dedication to every initiative, contributing meaningfully to the NDLEA's mission and the larger fight against substance use. Join me to welcome Ms. Etuka as she takes the first session titled Dangers of Drug and Substance Abuse, Call to Action. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lady Alayo. Lady Etuka. Ms. Etuka. Now you're Lady Etuka. You have the floor, please. Thank you.
Okay.
I think you are muted.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Okay. Good day, everyone. Good day, everyone. And welcome to today's webinar.
Good day.
My name is Ifeoma Etuka, and I'm honored to have you join us for this crucial discussion. Throughout today's section, we will examine the significant risks associated with drug and substance use, the impact it has on individuals and communities, and the strategies we can employ to address this issue effectively. In this discussion, our goal is to create awareness, deepen understanding, and offer practical solutions that can drive positive change. We want to not only help people after this discussion know more about the problem, but also help them understand it better and other practical ideas that can really make a difference. Your participation is invaluable, and I encourage you to engage actively, ask questions, and reflect on the ways we can all collectively work towards creating a safer and healthier environment. Thank you for your time and commitment to this important program. Let's begin. Global issue, drug and substance use disorder is a problem. It's a big problem, not just within the society, it's a global problem. The use of substance abuse is a global public health crisis impacting millions of individuals and families worldwide. Drug use problem is not a respecter of anybody. It's not just within Nigeria, it's not just within the family, it's everywhere. It's both the community, the families, the society affected. This issue transcends borders, social economic backgrounds, and communities, bringing devastating consequences to personal health and social stability, and also economic productivity. How do we go about this? It does not only affect the individuals who engage in it. It's not just one person, it's everybody. But also has a broader impact on families, it has the impact on communities and society as a whole. Families can experience a lot of severe strains and break down relationships. Communities too may face increased crime and instability. It also affects the health sector systems. It becomes burdened with the need for treatment and emergency care. So tackling drug abuse is not just about improving health, it's a crucial step towards strengthening our entire society. Each and every one of us has a role to play. The community, the youth leaders, the government, everybody, all hands must be on deck for this issue to be resolved. In this presentation, we have key objectives. What are we looking at? We will be looking at the health impact. We'll also be looking at the societal impact and also the economic impact, For the health impact, this leads to chronic diseases, mental health issues, and higher mortality. For the highlights impact, On the social impact, we have the strained families. Families are being affected, increased crime and destabilizes communities. Economic impact, high health care costs, lost productivity and crime-related expenses. What are we looking at in this objective? We're also looking at the call to action, meaning it's not just for everybody, all hands must be on deck. We are looking at educating. Exactly what Lady Oak is doing today is part of the call to action. We are looking at support, prevention, and treatment. We all have to support treatment, we all have to support prevention, and advocate for policy changes to combat this growing crisis effectively. Every one of us has a role to play. And we'll be looking at the terms, substance abuse. What is it all about? Substance use disorder. We no longer call it substance abuse. We use the word substance use disorder. And what is it all about? It involves the harmful use of psychoactive substances, including alcohol, illicit drugs, and the misuse of prescription medications, leading to negative health and social consequences. Abuse knows no boundary. It doesn't have respect for anybody. It's everywhere. It's in our homes, it's in our societies, in our communities, staring into our faces. We can no longer hide about this issue. It's a big problem. It's a big crisis. It occurs in all social, economic, geographic, and ethnic groups. So we can't deny about it. We all know, and we have to be proactive about it. We all have to come together and find solutions to this problem. So let's talk about, what are these drugs? They are commonly abused substances. It's everywhere in the society. Where can we find them? What are these drugs that when you find somebody using it, we can always raise an eyebrow and say, what is going on? Where is the drug from? Drugs like opioids, we call them, they come under depressants, because these drugs are drugs like heroin, fentanyl, tramadol, morphine, prescription pain relievers, codeine, which are highly addictive and frequently abused. These drugs are all over our shelves. The youth have access to these drugs. And it's something we cannot hide about it anymore. Parents are involved. Whenever I go out for my lectures, I usually hit the hammer on the parents because we have a lot of work to do. It's not the youth. Although I believe that when a youth is ahead of any project, they do it perfectly well. But parents also have the best role to play on this. Drugs like opioids, such as heroin, fentanyl, are highly addictive and frequently misused, contributing to significant public health challenges. The goal to schools in League came out maybe at the age of, let's say 9 years. And I was surprised. He said, yes, you have seen it. Then I needed to know how, where. He told me it's his uncle. He normally buys it for the uncle. You can imagine that kind of a child growing up in such environment to tell you that these drugs are available. You can get them anywhere around your society, around your communities. The next one is alcohol. Alcohol, despite its legal status, is a socially acceptable drug like cigarettes. Because everybody, when you see people in a garden or party, you see them taking alcohol, they drink beer, and they feel, yes, you don't need to raise an eyebrow if you see somebody doing that because it's socially acceptable. But this drug, cigarette and alcohol, is a kind of, we'll call it the gateway drugs. These drugs can lead you to a higher drug. So one has to be careful on that. Alcohol, despite the legal status, is widely abused. Misuse can result in a lot of severe health issues, problems such as liver disease, cardiovascular problems, addiction, liver cirrhosis, or mental health disorders. Then addressing the dangers of alcohol abuse is essential for improving individual and public health outcomes. We have the stimulants. Stimulant drugs are cocaine, methamphetamine. The methamphetamine is what we call the Mkuru-Mmiri in the eastern part of the country. It's totally killing our youths in all those areas. Cocaine is everywhere. These days, from our research or from the experience I have in my job, no youth takes one particular drug because they feel that particular one they're taking does not give them the effect anymore. You see them having, they call them the poly-use drugs. He might be using cocaine, that they call it cracks, because they all have their street names. He might be using methamphetamine and cannabis at the same time. So when the problem comes, it's very difficult for whoever that needs to treat them to ascertain the particular drug that is giving such problems to the individual. So we have such drugs as cocaine, methamphetamine, and prescription medications. Common names for cocaine in Nigeria. You can go to a shop, you see some of these young boys, individuals, when they go out, you hardly know what they're buying because they already have a coded names for it. They call them coke, powder, Thailand, they have all names, Thailand white, brown black, off-white, Charlie. And when they mention it, you'll be surprised, what's going on? What does it want to buy? So they code these drugs for them to have access to all of them. These are the stimulants. Then depressant, that's the problem we have in Nigeria. The most abused drugs in Nigeria is called the cannabis sativa. That is, they call it, the street name is Wiwi or Iwu. It is from the plant called cannabis sativa, and the psychoactive ingredient is what we call THC. And what is the meaning of THC? It's tetrahydrocannabinol. This chemical ingredients produces the high in cannabis. Commonly smoked, eaten, or sometimes in Nigeria using tea as tea leaf. We had issues where a young boy in the university of Ghana had a party. In that party, they didn't know he added the leaf of cannabis sativa in his pepper soup. And students ate, and it became a very big problem. We also had issue where a young girl, her roommates didn't know, they felt she was going the church type, the born again, and why can't you join us in what we are doing? And the girl left for lecture, came back. These girls, the soup she made for herself, they sprinkled some marijuana into the soup. And it was a big issue in that particular school. Those girls were expelled. So there are so many things. That's why I normally hit my hammer on the parents. We need to be very nosy about our kids. We need to be nosy to know exactly what they're doing. Mommy, I'm going to see a friend. Who is that friend? Be very nosy. We need to make them our friends. We don't need to castigate and be so harsh on them, because when they are not your friends, it means you're pushing them out of your presence. They are going to make friends out there, and whatever the person tells them, they believe. So parents have a lot of work to do. Is the street, maybe if you hear them calling them, I want to buy kush, don't think it's the normal kush or biscuit or skunk. These are the names. Despite this increasing legalization, cannabis can be subject to abuse, thereby resulting in dependence and various mental health challenges.
Yep.
Hallucinogen is another classification of drugs. So we have to be very careful. These are substances that alter perception. The mood, it can alter your mood, it can alter your perceptions, and at the same time processes leading to vision and auditory hallucinations. That's why I see human beings, some of these people who are into it, walking on the streets and they're just talking to themselves. They can tell you the light is working, or the human being is flying. It affects their cognitive processes. It can also work on your emotions too, because they don't believe at times, they see things people don't see, you know? So these are the classification and common drug abuse we have in society. Then before I move on, why are we having this discussion today? Because we feel it's a global crisis. Substance use is a global problem. Then we'll have a report, the World Drug Report, over 270 million people worldwide use drugs in the past year, with around 35 million suffering from drug use. Of these, approximately 35 million are experiencing drug use disorders, highlighting the widespread nature of this issue and the need for all of us for an effective intervention and support. It shows we have a problem globally. It shows it's a big crisis. Then in Nigeria also we have our own issues here. The drug is not respecting any country. In Nigeria, we have 14.3 million Nigerians aged between 15 and 64. That is 14.4% use active substances. it means that for the age 15-64 using this is high, it means we have a problem. This is the productive age of the country, of any country. They will also have in the data in the survey that 20% of the 14.3 million have substance use disorder. Nigerian accounts for 14% of world pharmaceutical opioids misuse. These figures highlight the significant drug abuse issue in Nigeria and the critical need for effective interventions and support. We cannot just keep across our hands and expect the government to do all the jobs for us. We all have to sit up and do the right thing. Then within Nigeria, we have issues of among every, can it happen in a society where every 4 drug users in Nigeria, 1 is a woman? That means there's a problem in that society. The highest level of drug use were among those aged the same productive age, 25, 39 years. And what is the most abused drugs in that society? Cannabis. It's commonly used, it's everywhere. It's everywhere because it's grown in most of our states in the country. We have so many of them. Even cannabis now in Abuja, you can, if you have a good space at your backyard, some people grow cannabis behind at the house. We've gone to a house, 2 or 3 houses in Abuja where we went to destroy the farms. They grow cannabis to tell you how this problem is a big problem within us. The same statistics states that the non-medical use of cough syrup is estimated at 2.4% of adult population. We know that there's a particular state in the country that have been on this. They were abusing almost 3 million bottles of codeine a day in that state. It was a big problem. We have, I'm sure most of us must have heard about the documentation, which that it's referred to sweet codeine. Polydrug use among high-risk drug users. Polydrug use is prevalent, I said it earlier, involving the use of multiple substances simultaneously. For people that are used, for the polydrug users, you hardly know the drug that gives them a problem. It's usually a problem during counseling. So we need to find out the particular one that gives us problem to such individuals. Is it the cannabis? Is it the cocaine? Is it the tramadol? Is it the heroin? Is it the morphine? We need to find out. Then for the high-risk groups, we're looking at adolescents and youths aged the same between 15 and 35 years, regardless of gender, are the most at risk. These trends highlight specific areas of concern, including the misuse of cough syrup, widespread polydrug use, and the vulnerability of young people to drug use. We are looking at the health risks of substance. We can't say all this without listing the physical health challenges we have. There's what we call the short-term and the long-term. The short-term effects is when you're starting the drug, it hasn't gotten to you. By the time you get the long-term, it has a lot of physical, psychological issues on your health. For the high risks of substance, you have what is called the cardiovascular damage and the liver damage. What does it entail? Such drugs like cocaine and methamphetamine, as an example, is linked to critical heart failure. And for long-term alcohol use, can also lead to severe liver diseases. Liver damage is also one of it, but especially for people that abuse alcohol. And it's a major liver disease such as fatty liver, hepatitis, cirrhosis, which can ultimately lead to liver failure and death. This risks underscore the severe impact of substance abuse on physical health and emphasizing the need for prevention and treatment efforts. What we are emphasizing is the prevention and the treatment efforts. What do we do? How do we go about it? We have the respiratory issues and the neurological damages. These are all under physical health risks of substance use disorders. Depression, anxiety. Most of these drug users, they make you believe that the drug works on them, helps them to come out of their depression. But I tell them it's not right, because this drug, the overuse could lead you to depression and anxiety. It can also lead you to psychosis. This is the use of stimulants like methamphetamine, cocaine, and cannabis can result in such experiences. Even hallucinations is also part of it. Delusions and severe paranoia. These are all parts of mental health risk. Suicidal risk, we have issues where young ones have tried to commit suicide, not just one, even adults. At times they have such thoughts coming into us. Individuals with substance use disorders are significantly more likely to experience suicidal thoughts and actions, especially in individuals with underlying mental health disorders. Strained relationships is one of it. Substance use can also damage family bonds. A family where the mother uses drug, the father uses the same thing, it could lead to conflicts, mistrust, and potential separation of divorce. The father is not at home, the mother is, because during my job, my work experience, and people have counseled too, they keep telling you, my mother and my father are not living together. My mother has married another man, my father. It's usually a family strained relationship that leads to that most of the time. That's what they keep telling us. So strained relationship can affect it. Financial burdens too, substance abuse can result in substantial financial costs for families, including medical expenses. When you're managing yourself, trying to sustain the family, you can imagine having a drug use individual within your family. How does it affect you? It affects your financial cost. You need to pay for the bills. You need to include medical expense. You need to pay for legal fees and lost income, especially when you don't have a job. So these are the financial burdens that comes within the family, and the family has to carry such problems. Domestic violence and neglect. The presence of substance use is strongly linked to increased rates of domestic violence and child neglect. Yes, you can see the picture there on my slide. The man and a woman trying to sort it out among themselves. You can imagine a family where you have kids, they are watching these two people do this kind of thing. So what impact is it going to have on the child? It's definitely going to have a negative impact. For the child growing up in this household often face a greater likelihood of developing emotional and behavioral changes. He feels the love is not there. My mother doesn't love my father doesn't love my mom. They're all fighting. What does he do? Maybe he goes out there looking for solutions or trying to get the sucker from out there. So it's possibility he's going to get himself involved in substance use. Increased crime rates. Substance use leads to more crime in the communities. People often steal to buy drugs. They never have money. You can never have enough. Rates of crime, assault, and communities with high levels often experience social instability. So communities with high levels of this reduce these crime-related issues and improve community safety. If you can solve this. Productivity loss.
Recording in progress.
Productivity loss. Under productivity loss, we are looking at the absenteeism. You can imagine an organization where you have 10 workforce, and out of the 10, 5 is using substance use. What happens to such organization? You don't have most people coming to work. You have issues of absenteeism, have issues of reduced work efficiency, workplace accident, and a lot of it. Adding substance abuse can help mitigate this financial impact and improve overall workplace efficiency. This topic is a very important topic for me, and it's also supposed to be important for you, the circle of addiction. How do we find ourselves into this? We have stages of addiction. We're talking about the experimentation, the regular use, dependence, and addiction. What makes our youth to even try to experiment this drug? There are things we are looking at. Experimentation in any drug use is the initial stage where an individual tries a substance out of curiosity or peer influence. This person has never seen this drug before. He says it. Somebody smokes and he feels fine. We have regular use. When he tries it, experiments it, he starts using it. From regular use, he moves to dependency. From dependency, he moves to addiction. But that doesn't mean somebody can try the drug for the first time as experimentation. He might not go through the regular use. He might move straight to addiction. Someone else can try the experimentation and he says, no, I don't think I like this. I'm not interested. Then somebody can try the first one and move straight to dependency and then to addiction. So that means it does not. Why not everyone who experiments with drugs progresses to addiction? This stage is crucial as it represents the beginning of potential dependency. For experimentation, we talk about the curiosity, the peer pressure, social situations. What makes any individual want to try this? Curiosity. He's curious. He's smoking. He wants to know how the cigarette tastes, what it does to him. These are the things that can push him to experimenting for the first time. Social situation, occasions where drug use is present for normalization.
Don't disturb me first.
Occasions where drug use is present or normalized. Why not everyone who experiments with drug progresses to addiction? In the regular use stage, you have the recreational. He doesn't use it all the time. He uses for enjoyment or social reasons. For coping mechanism, he used drugs to manage stress. He also used drugs for anxiety. Maybe he feels he's going through some stress and he needs to take anxiety or other personal issues, or she lost a loved one, or she lost his job or her job. At this point, the person may still have some control over their usage, but regular use increases the risks of developing dependence and addiction. When it gets to regular, you can stop drug use. You can, it's possible. But if care is not taken, you might move to dependency and addiction. And what does dependency entail? The problem we normally have on dependency is the withdrawal symptoms. In dependency stage, both the body and mind rely on the substance to function normally. They can't do without these drugs. They're already depending on it. And on that, you can talk about the physical dependency. Withdrawal symptoms occur when the substance is not used, such as tremor, nausea, or anxiety. If he doesn't use it, he has all those trauma coming around him and he will be forced to use it. Increased use. To avoid these uncomfortable symptoms, he wants to use because he's already having some increased use to avoid some symptoms he doesn't really like. Dependency marks a critical turning point where substance use becomes more difficult to control or manage. The last and the most important one is addiction. How do we get to this stage? This stage is the final stage where the drug use becomes a compulsive use. The individual uses the substance in a compulsive manner, unable to stop, despite severe negative effects. Health and relationship impacted. These are significant detrimental effects on health, personal relationships, and daily responsibility. In this stage, he loses control. The person loses control over their substance use, and obtaining and using the substance becomes their primary focus. They can't do anything without the drugs. They can't. There's nothing, is already a problem. Addiction requires comprehensive treatment and support to overcome. For anybody that is addicted, we show love. If you really want to help, we don't castigate, we don't talk down on them, love them, show passion. Because when they come to your facilities and you start talking to them anyhow, or start letting them realize what they've done is wrong, you can't get the best out of them. But when a drug user walks into your facility and he comes to tell you, I am done and I want to be a changed person, embrace him, love him, show him love. We don't beat, we don't insult, we don't abuse. We love them. Both of you are going to do the work together. It's not a situation where you have to be the leader, no? He's supposed to be the one guiding you. So addiction requires comprehensive treatment and support to overcome, as it profoundly affects every aspect of individual lives. For my presentation, I'm also very passionate about this call to action. What do we do? Just like what Lady Oak is doing today. I thank you for your wonderful initiative. For my presentation, my call of action will be to encourage everyone to support prevention programs and raise awareness about the dangers of drug use. Well, how are we going to do that? Educate and create awareness, what you're doing today. This program, everybody is logged in from not within Nigeria, but you're outside the country too. Is a very crucial in combating drug and substance abuse. Take proactive steps. We have to be proactive this time. It's no longer, we're not hiding. If anybody in your family has a drug issue, don't hide. Let's know, be proactive. It's when you're proactive, we can provide solutions on how to help. Educate yourself and others, learn about the risks associated with drug use and understand the signs of addiction. Stay informed. Familiarize yourself with available resources and support services for individuals struggling with this. By spreading knowledge, like what we are doing, we're already spreading the knowledge and staying informed. You contribute to prevention efforts and help others seek the support they need. Support for loved ones. If someone close to you is battling substance abuse, offer non-judgmental support. I've said that before. Encourage professional help. Gently suggest seeking professional treatment and resources. Be involved in their recovery. Don't just say, that's your problem. You take your problem yourself. Go elsewhere and look for solution. No, evolve. Stand by them throughout their recovery journey. Providing emotional support and encouragement, that's all they need because it's a health problem. It's not a crime. Drug use, it's not a crime. It is a health problem. Your compassionate support can significantly impact their willingness to seek help and their overall recovery process. Community involvement. What are your roles in the community? From the picture I have on my slide, you can see the love, give food, whatever you think you can provide in a community, you have to do that. Advocate for change by actively participating in your community. Raise awareness, engage in efforts to increase understanding of drug abuse and its impact. Support resources. Advocate the better policies. What policies do you have? What with the local governments, organizations? Your involvement can drive positive change and enhance community support for those affected by substance abuse. That is your role. Volunteer in your community. Contribute your time and skills. Don't just sit down and watch. Be part of it. In your little way, you're making an effort. Make a difference. Your involvement can provide crucial support from offering direct help to those in need to enhancing the overall effectiveness of these organizations. Share your expertise. Utilize your skills and knowledge to support recovery efforts. Please contribute to outreach programs or help with administrative tasks. Volunteering not only aids those struggling with substance abuse, but also strengthens the community. Whatever you volunteer within your community, it affects all the community capacity to address and manage these challenges effectively. Support research and funding. With the research, you'll be able to know where exactly we need to put in our energy and effort. Promote innovation. Support efforts to develop new evidence-based approaches to combat substance abuse. Increased research and funding enhances our ability to create effective treatments and support systems. Coping skills, we've said everything. Don't do drugs. Don't use cannabis. Don't do this. It has health consequences. It has individual consequences. How do they cope about these substances? We've told them all the things they should do and the things they should not do. And we're sending them out to the public, to society. How do you expect them to cope? Because some of them will still go back to the same problem. What do I mean by coping skills? Is the skills that help individuals manage the craving, manage the stress, manage the triggers. I remember I have a client in one of my counseling, and I was talking to him. He said he's here to change. He has made up his mind to change. And I asked him a question. I said, how do you work on your triggers. He said he's doing his best. Then how does it come to you? How do you get it? He said whenever he gets to play in the field, when they go to play football, maybe he gets there because that's where they sell the substance. Maybe he gets there, the trigger comes, and I asked him, how do you manage it? He said he walks away. So the triggers without turning to drugs. Young people, including adolescents and young adults, are at high risk for substance abuse. We cannot shy away from this problem. To combat this issue effectively, preventive drug education programs should focus on. We're looking at developing coping skills. That's what I mean by coping skills. We can also look at resilience training, foster skills that help them navigate challenges and make healthy choices. And what are these coping skills? Coping skills are skills like decision-making skills, interpersonal relation skills, communication skills, refusal skills, assertive skills, and so on. Decision-making is what do we need to know about decision-making? It helps you to evaluate your choices. It also helps you, if you face with consequences, to make informed and healthy decisions. Nobody's going to push you. It's your decision. You have to make it yourself. Somebody comes around and offer you substance. You have the right to say, no, I don't need this. It's not going to help me. But in interpersonal relationship skill, it builds and maintains positive and supportive relationships that discourages drug use. These are the interpersonal relationship skills. Communication skills express thoughts and feelings clearly to prevent misunderstanding and avoid peer pressure. The peer pressure is a big problem for our youth. They want, even the role models, I want to be like this person. The peer pressure is so much. And I have this issue of each time I ask maybe one of my lecture, they keep telling me, I take this because I'm depressed. And I ask this youth, depressed, what is your problem? Are you the one providing for the family? Are you the one working for everybody? So what kind of depression? So for the parents, we need to be nosy, we need to ask them, we need to make them friends. For the refusal skills, we have confidently say no to drugs. Refuse it entirely. Don't pretend about it. These are all inbuilt, we have to develop them. Say no confidently and ascertain boundaries when faced with offers or pressure. Assertiveness, stand firm in one's value and choices without being overly aggressive or submissive. Quietly say, no, I don't want this. It's not going to help me. If somebody offers you such. So mastering these abilities empowers youth to navigate situations involving drug use and make healthy choices. So these are the things we need to take out to our youth, the coping skills. If they can hold themselves to that, they'll be able to fight a lot of challenges when they face such issues. Take action today. The battle against drug and substance abuse is continuous and starts with each individual. By engaging in education, offering support, and participating in advocacy, we contribute to a healthy and safer world. The quote here I have, our quote, I say, it's easier to stay off drugs than to get off drugs. Media Plus. This emphasizes the importance of prevention and the collective effort for all of us required to combat substance abuse effectively. As we have discussed the dangers of drug and substance abuse, I want to urge each of us to take immediate action. Let's not wait until the problem grows further. Talk to your families, talk to your friends, engage your communities, and support drug prevention programs. Together, we can make a difference and help protect the next generation from the harmful impact of drugs. The time to act is now. Let's work together to create a drug-free society. Thank you, and thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, speaker. Thank you. That 30 minutes, you were so much on time. You packed in so much. It's so loaded. I can imagine that we've all gone through the emotions. At the beginning of your presentation, I felt so sad. I felt like, crying, but you took us through and then you closed us with a lot of encouragement, that there is hope. And you've asked us to support our communities, to support our people, to embrace people who are impacted or affected, to speak up. The time to be silent and to play ostrich is over. This is on us. No household is immune. Every household is affected. Millions upon millions of our people are impacted. In Nigeria, over 14 million, and our productive age is most impacted. It's really heart-wrenching, but you have encouraged us to get involved, and there is hope. So thank you so much, Ms. Chizoba Etuka. Thank you. We really appreciate it. And we have a lot to bite on. To the rest of us, I know that we have a lot of questions. I want to encourage us to start dropping our questions in the chat box. We're not going to take the questions now until after the second speaker, so that we'll have enough time to address all the questions. So start dropping the questions, everyone. Thank you, Ms. Chizoba.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. I would also want to notify our students in the house that the link for the recharge card reimbursement is now up. So look in the chat box, click on the link and provide your details, your name and your phone number and the network that you want the recharge card to be sent to, and you would start receiving your reimbursements. Thank you so much. Please look at the chat box and do that now. Drop your questions. We have a special guest in the house, and I would like us to make welcome and recognize the Vice Chancellor of the University of Delta, who's in the house. Just a second. I think I've missed something. Okay, Professor Stella Chiemeka is in the house.
Yes.
And she's the Chancellor of the University of Delta. Please, even though you're muted, just let's welcome her with a clap, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Belema. I'm so glad to be here. I want to appreciate the Lady Oak organization for what you are doing. And particularly, I'm thrilled with the lecture given by Chizoba. That's a good one. And I want to say thank you. And for the students that are on board, thank you for being there. And I pray that at the end of this session, everybody will be happy that they logged on to Lady Oak program. Thank you so much. And thank you also, my barrister, my lord in the house. Thank you. I appreciate you for having me here. God bless you all.
Thank you so much, Professor.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. We really appreciate, and your presence here is a huge encouragement to us and to the
so much.
in the house. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
So at this point, we'd like to make welcome Lady Oak Gloria Eribwem. Lady Oak Gloria Eribwem is our anchor, the Lady Oak anchor and boots on the ground in the Ika communities in Delta. Whenever we have programs, she's the one that's usually coordinating on ground. And would like to call on Lady Oak Gloria Eribwem to please introduce our second speaker. Lady Oak Gloria, you're welcome. You have the floor.
Belema, I think she's having problem in connecting. So
okay,
Thelma, please take it.
Yes.
Yes.
So yes, thank you, Lady Oak. Thelma, the social secretary of the Lady Oak Association. Please kindly help us to welcome and introduce our second speaker.
Thank you very much, Lady Belema, and thank you for having these fantastic speakers on board. Also, thank you, the first speaker, Mr. Tuku, you did a very good job. On that note, I would like to welcome Dr. Dokun Adedeji. Dr. Dokun Adedeji is the CEO of Compassionate Care Recovery Initiative, CCRI. Prior to this, he was the Director General, CADAM, Christ Against Drug Abuse Ministry, an NGO owned by Redeemed Christian Church of God, RCCG. He holds a bachelor's degree in medicine from Obafemi Awolowo University. He's a visionary leader, a highly experienced medical doctor and public speaker dedicated to transformative change. Dr. Adedokun is passionate about healthcare and rehabilitation among several passions. He is committed to touching lives, transforming communities through compassionate care. So join me in welcoming Dr. Adedokun as he takes us through this second session titled Management of Drug Addiction. Thank you. Let's welcome him with our virtual. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So Dr. Adedokun, please, you have the floor.
Right. Thank you very much. Let me first of all say this. The next slide, so I can go to the outline.
Okay.
Sorry, I put you under pressure of doing my slides for me because I'm using my phone to do this. Next slide, please. Next slide. Oh, yes. In the course of this lecture or discourse, I'm going to go through the preamble, what is addiction, steps into addiction, and management strategies, and then conclusion. Incidentally, next slide, please. Incidentally, Lady Etuka, if I can call her lady, since she's now a member of your Lady Oak, I think I must commend her presentation, and there'll be a lot of overlap in what we are going to talk about. I hope you're all hearing me.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
There'll be a lot of overlap. So what I'm going to do is sidestep some of them and then go to some other things, some of the things that probably she had not mentioned. But I must commend our presentation also come from NDLA, the scope of it and the depth of it. And I think that is what we need. Well, let me yes, ma'am. Let me commend the members of Lady Oak. I don't think we have said it enough what you're doing. This is commendable. This is exceptionary. And why am I saying this? You know, and Mr. Tuka said it. People think this job belongs to NDLA. It does not belong to NDLA at all. There's not much that NDLA can do. NDLA cannot be in their family setting. They cannot be in our schools. They cannot be in the parties we have. They cannot be in the various social strata of society. They cannot be in institutions. But they can be and give us an overview of what we all can do together. And that is what I'm going to try to do this morning. Particularly at this time that Lady Oak has done this. I'm very, very impressed. And that's why I gave myself to spend time with you. Honestly, Mr. Tuka cannot say enough. The statistics are there. There's no doubt that our country is on the brink of a drug epidemic. To say anything out of that is just being childish or infantile. We are on the bridge of epidemic. And this is borne by the current drug statistics. She said something. I'm sure the statistics does not even speak to the reality of what is on ground from what we see on our daily experiences. She has mentioned to you that UNODC did a global survey in 2017. The result was published in 2018 to give the statistics of how drug is used in Nigeria. And we are all shocked. But next slide, please. Next slide. You know, she said something, I want to now signpost some of the things she said so that we can understand the significance of the battle we face. And I want to tell Lady Oak, excuse me, this is not a program as just a program. This is the beginning of what I think you should do. That's why I'm glad that you say call to action. You know, they found that the global prevalence rate for the whole world was 5.6%. For Nigeria was 14.4%. You may look at figures and say, oh, statistics, but let me break it down so that we can understand. That 14.4% translates about 14 to 50 million Nigerians who had used drugs year prior to the survey. And that you can then begin. Let me now give you the significance of that figure. Next slide, please, so that we can see what Lady Oak and other organizations, and I'm so glad that there's a VC on this platform. I must commend Lady Oak again for getting her in. because we need the institutions to buy into the whatever we're going to do. There's too much of illiberal actions being taken. The drug substance abuse is taken as a criminal thing. Oh, we expel the student. Oh, we send them. I'm not saying we shouldn't. Please, I want the VC to understand. But when we talk in the concept of this thing, she will understand her role and the role of other VCs and what Lady Oak should do. I think Lady Oak should have a session, particularly since you say you are Central and Delta and ICA, to get the VCs or the head of institutions in that area on board and get them have a tutorial like this so that they can have an understanding. Now, let me progress. The population of Liberia is 5 million. The population of Mauritania is 4 million. The population of the Gambia is 2 million. Guinea-Bissau has a population of 2 million people. The total population of those 4 countries come to 13 million. See the numbers. But look at the number of Nigerians who are on drugs, who tested positive, who are captured in the survey. 14 million to 15 million, which means that the population of drug users in Nigeria can form a country. That is the significance of those figures. So if we don't look at it in that dimension, we just look at figures, but begin to understand what this means for our population. If 15 million people can be gathered together and put in a country, they say this is a country of drug users. You can then understand what Nigeria is going through. So it's so important that we come to this understanding. Next slide, please. Next slide. You know, I'll try to sidestep this, but I'll talk to some of these things because my colleague has mentioned it, but let me just say this. What is addiction? We have come to understand it is a mental disorder. It is not something primitive, it's not a criminal. The person who does drugs must be a criminal, must be. It's not true. There's an association, but not necessarily direct association. It's characterized by persistent, please watch my words, an intense urge to use a drug or a substance. And as Lady Utuka said, please, it is no more drug addiction. Nobody calls it drug anymore. We call it substance. Why do we call it substance abuse? Because I will tell you some of the things that people use, particularly students today, that you cannot classify empirically as a drug, but a substance. Because there are no drugs that you can get to buy or so, but the thing that people can concoct themselves. Let me give you an example. If for those who are northerners, there's something called Zakami. Zakami is a seed. It is not a drug. But they have found, NDLEA has found that the psychoactive substances in it is so high and dangerous. They're still studying it. And then the southwestern people, we saw something called gegemu. Gegemu is a natural plant. It grows behind the houses of people, or even in schools, or even in gardens. It has raw fruits on it. Do you know that I learned about this from some students when I went to university to speak? They will pluck the leaves. They will boil it like you boil vegetable. And then the water from it, they decant it. You can't take it, it's extremely psychoactive. So they give it at parties in little dashes. So the thing is, and that is one. And when they don't have the fluid anymore, they can get the fruit. They will dry it and grind it and make it into powder and put it in food, in drinks, or they can snuff it. A.J. Muro says, when an individual becomes a slave to a drug or substance, is unable to stop without help. Please, I want us to know that. You see, and one thing that I want us to be aware of, why we all should worry. We've been told that the age of the survey covers 15 to 64. But we know the age that is critically affected in Nigeria's statistics is 25 to 39. So if you then avert your mind to that figure, you understand that is the productive sector of any nation, 25 to 30. But let me warn all of us. Today, there are 8-year-old using drugs. I went to Ogbomoso. They invited me to come and help them set up a rehab center. They brought some young boys to me, 4 of them. All of them were between age 8 and 10. They were already using marijuana regularly. So let us not hide away anymore. Let me, oh, this is something that we should be worried about, but we don't want people to know. One of the dangers today of why we have this huge spread is the fact that people are afraid. They don't want their family members to be to know, or anybody to know that this is happening. That cannot be so. You know, I was speaking to a student of a university that was coming in for rehabilitation. He said to me, he said, "Doctor, you really don't know the pervasiveness of this thing. That in my institution, if you take 10 students at random, male and female, at least 7 will test positive. And let me tell the VC something that you should know. The fact that you go and say, oh, we can test, we have tested, don't delude yourself. There's so many things today that the students have come to know that you don't know, and you will test negative and they'll still be using drugs. Let me give you a great example. I'm trying to do this because I know Lady Chuka has said a lot of these things. So I want us now to know the bad realities. There's a particular Christian university. One of the students was suspended, rusticated. So he came, the parents brought him to me. So he said when he was tested, he tested negative. But his friend who supplies him in the school tested positive. So I said, what happened? He said in our school, there's a particular kit they use that does not catch Colorado. So almost all the students who do drugs in that university use Colorado. So when they test them, they test negative. The school says, oh, we're doing well, but they're not. Because this kit they're using does not catch Colorado. So it's important that before we begin to initiate policies, particularly institutions or communities, let us have a deep understanding. The understanding should not be just over the shelf understanding, deep understanding. I remember somebody in the House of Rep, or maybe Senate, a few years ago. I don't want to mention his name. Oh, he said set up rehabilitation center in 774 local government. I said this guy does not know what he's talking about. Does he know the cost of rehabilitation center? Does he know the personnel that are required? So he only knows that drugs is a problem, but he does not know how to handle it. So today we are going to talk in a manner that brings us. Next slide, please. I'm trying to sidestep some of these things so that I don't repeat what has been said, so that we have a bit of time. As I said, the substance takes the brain hostage, and I can tell you, particularly those of us in communities who are doctors, who are judges, and also the VC. It is not everybody who uses drug that is an addict or that has a substance drug disorder. Some of them use it. Lady Chuka told us. Somebody can take one time and become addicted. And somebody can take for a long time before he becomes addicted. So it depends. And each stage depends on the individual. So we must know that. And we must also know, as the world has now come to understand, that substance use disorder, or let me say addiction for the sake of all of us, it is not a crime. It's a public health issue. And it does not merit punishment or discrimination. Oh, this person, let them send them away. We don't want them in our school. We don't want them in our community. So where would they go? One thing that I want us to know is this. These people are our sons, they are our husbands, they are wives, they are daughters. So as long, and I want us to know this, in our families, we have diabetics, we have hypertensives. We don't send them away. We don't throw them out. We treat them. So we need to help these people and treat them. And let me also say this, because we also say give them a second chance. A second chance does not mean a literally second chance. The second chance can be the first time, because it is not something that is started now that will go now. We must come to a level of compassion, a level of empathy, and a level of deep understanding. I have never seen anyone that had managed who woke up and said, today I want to be a drug addict. It's not possible. It's a systemic thing, and it's something that is a progressive thing. And so because it is, also getting out of it has to be progressive, and has to be strategic, and has to be monitored carefully. Next slide, please. Let me also sidestep this. Lady Chuka has done a good job with this, so there's no point for me. But why I highlighted this is this. At every stage of this leaves us the opportunity of management. Initial use, the person can use and say, I don't like it, doesn't do me what they said it will do. It stops. Abuse, we can help the person. So I mentioned this only for the purpose of how do we intervene? How do we get to the point of helping these people? Next slide, please. Next slide. And I stated the above definition as progression to because they will guide us in the steps of management. Incidentally, this year's theme for World Drugs Day, which is celebrated every June 20th, the evidence is clear. Invest in prevention, which is Lady Oak, what you are doing today. Because prevention is one of the major keys to management. If we don't invest in prevention, doing what you are doing today, encouraging other people to do it. You see, I've said something, and let me repeat it. The greatest vehicle of prevention is our women, is our mothers, is the home. We can cry about the degeneration in Nigeria, we can talk about everything. If we don't start from the home and deal with it in that manner, we are deceiving ourselves. Because these people, you know, I tell parents, they don't like it when I say it. I won't let me say to you here. I say, look, don't blame these young people for what you are saying. They are just a reflection of what we have done and we have shown them. And so if we don't deal with it, we are leaving them open to all kinds of, what do I mean by that? In psychology, there are three components of the human person. The first one is called the id, ID. Nobody can do anything about it because it's what we inherit from parents. The second one is called ego, EGO. When I say ego, I don't mean a sense of pride or arrogance. I mean what it simply means is the essence of the human person. Who are you? Why are you here? Why are you doing the things you are doing? Why do you intend to do something else? The third one is ego, is superego. And you know, the ego is personally determined. It's internal. It is what you work on yourself. The third one is called superego. Everything that is external to that person constitutes the superego. What do I mean by that? The family, the society, the school, the church, all those kind of, the friends they make. And you know what usually happens, and I'm glad that Lady Oak also said it, about family. And I'm saying to Lady Oak, I've studied in many institutes, in churches. The churches today have deviated from the primary role that the Lord wants them to play. We have neglected the family. We are talking about prosperity. What is prosperity? A family that is devastated by drugs. That prosperity will be whittled down. And so the thing is, the church should return, not only the church, the religious organization. Maybe that will come on to when I come to management. Let me just go on. Next slide, please. Next slide. Let me don't outreach myself. Let's leave this. We've talked about it. Now, thank you. Management strategies. And what do I say? You know, interdiction. Interdiction means arresting traffickers and making seizures of drug concern. NDLA has done extremely well. You know, incidentally, I don't know whether Mr. Chuka knows. I belong to the advisory committee to General Marwa on his special purpose committee. So I know a lot about what you guys are doing, what you have done, and I know his drive. I think one of the best things today we should thank God for is the new NDLA under General Marwa. They have done, look, how would you have known the volume of drugs being trafficked in this country? They went to Ikorodu, I think late last year, to close down a warehouse. And warehouse is the midst of people. It seems like a warehouse. $2 billion worth of drugs, pure cocaine, was found in that place. If that thing was not found, would it not have been distributed? At the end of, I think last year, they seized a consignment at the wall. Somebody was bringing in tramadol. The tramadol, they said if they distributed it across the Nigerian population, each Nigerian will have 2 to 3 tablets. And that is one consignment. And I can guarantee you, they were not caught. Within 2 weeks, that thing would have dissipated in Nigeria. And let me speak to some of these things which my colleague has spoken about. We talk about tramadol. Tramadol is a drug of prescription. But we all know, those of us in the medical field, tramadol of hospital is 50 milligrams. And it's given maybe once or twice a day for like 3 days. And you are warned. But the tramadol on the street, the lowest dosage is 200 milligrams. 200 milligrams, 250 milligrams, 500 milligrams, 1000 milligrams. Wow. And so you can begin to understand. And there's a drug also today that is beginning to be a major problem for sickle cell sufferers. Injection pentazocine. On the street, they call it Fortwin. You can buy Fortwin anywhere. And you know, the thing with Fortwin pentazocine is if they give you a dose of it, particularly this for sicklers, in 5 minutes, you'll be jumping around. Nobody will know you had a sickle crisis. So, but it's now on the street. I saw a patient who came to see me, the son of a medical doctor. The morning that he came to see me, he had used 5 ampoules of injection pentazocine. You know, so we need to sit down and how do we help NDLEA? We need to give them information. We need to be involved in our society. The awareness key is so important. That's why I put it as drug demand reduction activity. You know, in NDLEA, they have the interdiction unit, they have various, and then they have the DDR unit. The DDR unit is supposed to do some of these things where they collaborate with people like Lady Oak, but unless we have a network of this, how can they do it? They're in Abuja. You say ICA, you say Delta State. If we all don't get involved, you know, I like the fact that first ladies are getting involved, but in Nigeria, I know those kind of things. It's political. The moment they cease to become first lady, their ideas die. So what is if there is no continuity, if there's no networking and collaboration, those things will just be elephantine programs, and then the program dies, and then people continue the things they're doing. Now, creating awareness and information sharing, which is what you folks are doing today. Please do not leave it at this. If it's possible, you can get the materials we read today and other material, put it in a booklet. Give it to these institutions, maybe for free, or I don't know how they want to do it. Maybe they can help you to produce it. These things are so important. Look, I can take you to a place in Lagos. There's no joint in Lagos, drug joint, where they sell drugs that I have not visited. There is not one. Some of them are within market space. So that when NDLEA is coming, you see them, they will carry the vegetable, they carry the rice over it, so nobody sees what they are selling. And I tell you that in Lagos today, you can buy drug in traffic. They will do you a sign, and then they put in their hands close to their mouth, particularly if you drive a cozy car, and you will see, you will get it. And so we should not wait until the time that we. Can I tell you this? NDLEA has brought it out under Marwa. Many of these dispatch riders, they carry drugs. Some of them don't know. They deliver it because our children don't need to go out anymore to the joints. They call the supplier who gives it to a dispatch rider, who brings it to the house. If you see any house where there's always dispatch rider bringing something that looks like food, be very wary. It is not likely to be food. I'm sharing this because this is the moment for us to talk about this thing, so that we know the pervasive nature of what we're dealing with. It is not kid gloves at all. We need to involve the various segments of the society, the family, the schools, religious organizations, traditional institutions, CSOs and NGOs, and organized private sector. The areas in this country that we're still lagging in terms of information sharing is organized private sector and also the institutions. Why am I mentioning the institutions? When I was in Kadam, I started a center where we admit students that have been rusticated. They come for about 6 months, and then we treat them. We see them clean. We give them letters to go back to the institution, and they are readmitted to complete their education. So we should not throw them out. The organized private sector, many offices don't know that their staff use drugs. Let me give you an example. When you see young people carry Coca-Cola, particularly La Casera, and they're carrying it in their hand for more than 15, 20 minutes, that is not regular. Something has been added into it. And so nothing is innocent anymore. I've seen young people, they cook indomie, they garnish it with marijuana, they cook all kinds of. My colleague said something about what was this thing? I just escaped my kush or something. All kinds of things. Do you know in cookies they put marijuana? In pepper soup they put marijuana. There's some called scoochies. How do they prepare scoochies? They can get zobo, put in a big bowl, they'll soak marijuana in it, and then put cough syrup in it and put tramadol in it and then put it in kegs and then they serve them at parties. I mean, those are the things that are, so if we don't know this, I'm saying this because if you don't have a knowledge of them, you cannot combat it. I'm not saying it, and I'm glad there are not too many young people. There are students there, but I hope they understand. Because if they don't stop, if anybody does not find a way to stop, it will take away their future. It will destroy everything they've ever worked for. I've seen, look, come to Lagos, see all those young boys in the joints. I went to a particular joint in Lagos. I met a medical doctor who graduated from medical school but has never practiced medicine. He lives in the joint. So I called him. I said, look, if we can clean you out, this was about a year and a half ago, I will personally take you back to your medical school. You will do your housemanship and then this and that. He said, okay. He stayed for 2 weeks and went back to the joint. You know what he does in the joint? He treats the dealers. So they give him drugs in exchange. Next slide, please. I don't want to discourage you, but again, as Mr. Tuka did, I'm saying all this. Don't be despaired. There is hope. There's a lot we can do together that we can bring hope to this country and salvation to our young people. How do we? One of the ways is discourage stigma and discrimination. If you discourage it, we can let people do self-reporting. So they can call a young man who that I spoke with went to the registrar of his university, Christian University. By the way, can I tell us something? Drug use is worse in Christian universities than public universities because parents think that let me take it to a Christian where they did. It's not true. It's not true. And let me tell the BC as well. You know, there are certain things that people do. They leave a university, they come to your school, they don't have to bring the transcript. You say go and bring your transcript. You know what they have tried to do? They don't do transcript. They go and redo JAMB, so that you just find that somebody that is 22 or 21 is now entering your university. You need to ask yourself, where have you been? A 22-year-old just entering first year, there's something wrong. There must be a history. This stigma, it was something that Jeremiah invited me to speak about last year at Aso Rock. Stigma and discrimination, as how it destroys our ability to help people in drugs. Oh, I don't mind if it's a drug addict. So it is not everybody that tests positive that is an addict. I'm saying it because of the VC. So when we are, so that they can propagate it in the schools. Because they are tested, these people that are addicts, they are not. They are first-time users. They are first-time users or occasional users or experimental users. We can help them. So if they do that, we can help them and manage them. Encourage individuals and organizations to undergo drug tests. Why am I saying this? When we tell them in the institutions and the workplace to do tests, what is the motive for doing the drug test? When people notice that the motive is punitive, they will not do tests. They will not submit themselves for. And can I also warn those of us who think drug test is so imperative? These people, if you don't monitor how the urine is brought, they can bring the urine of their friends, the urine of the security man, because they will give the security man money and they will give them his own urine. They will test and it will be negative. And you say, oh, sorry, you can go. But drug use will be festering in your school. Counseling opportunities. Many of our universities should have a unit where people can self-report, they can come, and you can start with counseling. The moment you find that you cannot deal anymore with the counseling, you refer them for professional help. And what do I mean? You can call someone to come to your school, can be doing a general counseling and also specific counseling and let people get managed. I said there's something about the 3 psychological components in counseling. I mentioned it, the id, the ego, and the super. You know why this is so important? Lady Oak people, please, you must do something for parents. Many parents are the reason why their children go to drugs, apart from fighting at home, society disharmony, or those kind of things. How do I mean? When we speak to our children in a manner that is inimical to self-worth, when you destroy their self-worth, their self-ability, their awareness of self, what are we doing to them? We're destroying them. They lose sense of worth, and then they roam around. Then when they now get to school, unfortunately, they're not doing too well. The lecturer says, you are not doing well, I don't see you graduating. Then the lecturer has inadvertently reinforced the fears of the parents. Can also tell parents, I ask parents, why are you allowing a 40-year-old to enter university? To go and do what? A man brought his son to me, a 20-year-old in final year reading computer science in one of our universities. So I told the boy to excuse us. I asked the father, you are the MD of a company. In your company, do you have a 20-year-old manager? I said, no. I said, so where is your own son going? If he finishes at 20, where is he going to work? You know, we don't know the kind of things, the damage we do to these children. When we take away their developmental stages, we are creating a lacuna. And then you see, I said to parents, prepare the child for the road. Don't prepare the road for the child. You go and lie, you say the boy is 17, you know he's 14. He enters university and he goes there and he meets an 18-year-old, tells him to come and try something. And then from home, the guy is weak, he can't take decision on his own. And then what do you want him to happen in school? It's so important that parents must come to understand it. There's nowhere they're running to. The world is so free there. People can be what they choose to become at the particular time they choose to become it. So now let me go to treatment. I'm looking at the time. We go to treatment, and treatment, please let me also say this. No, stay here. You know, when the treatment, I want people to know something. We may not have a recourse to what we need to do. That's why training like this is good. People will take their children to a psychiatric hospital. Not every psychiatric hospital can treat substance abuse disorder. So that those students are not treated as psychiatric patients. Because the first thing then, let me shock you, I'm a medical doctor. Many doctors do not know about substance abuse. So in the management, these children are just, they give them something like Lagactil to let them sleep, to let them do this. We are creating a different kind of problem. So, but I know many psychiatric hospitals today, I don't know about Uselu. I think Uselu too has a drug unit. I know Aro has a drug unit. I know Yaba has a drug unit. So what they then do in those kind of ones, they transfer them to that unit because they have specialized people who are those as psychiatrists and clinical psychologists who can manage. So it's important that we know that. And the next thing is rehabilitation. In rehabilitation, it can either be non-residential or residential. What do I mean by non-residential? I visited South Africa some years ago. There's a center in Soweto. The person can go to work, the person can go to school, but come back in the afternoon at a particular time for management and then go back home. Because in that case, the person has not become so bad that he needs to be admitted. But in many cases, they need to be admitted for a while. And I can say this from experience. I think the shortest time for a bad situation is about 1 year. And then like the one we created that, and again, I'm starting on, I will talk to it at the end of this, is about a period of 6 months. When, because they are not very bad, they're just students who tested for their workers who tested for them, they can be there for about 3 to 4 months, and then an outpatient base for another 2 months, so that they can be helped and they can go back to work and be re-assimilated. This takes me back to societal integration. You know, people say to me, people relapse. Of course, they can relapse. As a diabetic can relapse, a hypertensive can relapse if they don't use their drugs. If, for instance, somebody who went through drug rehabilitation, he's not maintained, he's not followed up. You know, if somebody comes and then he goes back to school and the lecturer begins to say, this guy is an addict, be careful, you are telling him to regress. Or if he comes back home, the family does not really integrate him. And when something gets lost in the house, they say, somebody has taken the money here, we don't know who has taken you, and they're looking at you, but they're not saying it's you. Those are factors that push them back to relapse. So we must begin to understand some of these things, and I'm glad that Lady Oak is raising the issue. Next slide, please. I think I'm almost done. Next slide. Collaboration amongst all organizations working in this way is so critical. The collaboration. Lady Oak called people like us called NDLA. But it should not end like that. What can we do together? How can we help one another? I know NDLA has a toll-free number, 0800 1020 3040, that you can call if you don't know what to do.
Keep the front end and the backyard. They go and bait. The front end and the back end
Hello.
preach to people.
Please, can we mute that person?
Admin,
I
please
know any-
mute, please.
Okay. Right. Can I go on, please? Hello?
Please go ahead.
Please go on, sir.
Yeah.
Please go on, sir. Sorry
Yes.
for the interruption.
Yes. No, not a problem. It happens. I know Delhi has a toll-free number. I'm saying this so that all of us can know. Is 0800 10 20 30 40. So this is a number that can be called even anonymously. You can either make reports of where they sell drugs around you and give them all the information. They will not mention you, they will intervene. Or if you have somebody who needs help, they can, because it's in Yoruba, it's in Igbo, it's on all languages, and all professionals are there, they can give you the information. And it's so critical that we do. And I said declaration of, do you know that Sierra Leone has a population of about 9 million, but the prevalence rate is 6.1? They declared a national emergency. Madam Bio, their president. But Nigeria is still toying with the fact and looking at it because there is no personal involvement of some of them. So we don't understand the seriousness of this matter. I think Nigeria should declare a drug emergency. Not only declaring it, but what are the steps to follow? Which are some of the things we're doing here today? And one of the areas that I think the government is policy formulation. You know, alcohol in Nigeria, anybody can buy alcohol. Lately, NAFDAC banned sachet drugs. Do you know the people clamoring for the unban? People in National Assembly, because they don't understand. Let me tell you the sachet drinks, particularly the students that are on it. If you go and buy something called Alomo Bitters, Alomo Bitters has 42% alcohol content. The same thing with Adonko, has 42%. Action Bitters has 40%. Like that. Go and buy. All those sachet drinks, just buy them or look for them on the floor. And then read the alcohol content. You'll be shocked. The lowest one is about 17, 16%. So you can begin to imagine when you see young person buy all these things, because that's what they use as step one. They used to step down and then they now go into other drugs. If we don't begin to do something, we will lose our children to liver cirrhosis, liver cancer, because of this alcohol content. Some of them are called bitters. And then so you know that they call them bitters, but they're not bitters. A lot of them have alcohol. Now, let me just quickly, next slide, please, as I'm rounding up. Next slide. Because I know we want to ask some. Yes, substance abuse and addiction is a matter for national concern. There's no doubt about it, which must be addressed with conscious and strategic steps that humanizes. That's why the lady took her and said, you don't call them drug addicts, substance use disorders. Somebody suffering from somebody. You know, we need to be careful about that language because it can also stigmatize and it can put them in a way that they cannot come forward. And we must change the primitive action. No, let's jail them. Let's do this. You can't jail a user. You can jail a baron. You can jail somebody who's but you can't jail a user. If you do that, that is called double jeopardy. The person is suffering from something and you are putting him in jail for suffering from something. Do we jail diabetics? Do we jail hypertension? No, we don't. We need to come to a consciousness that any of this person, and can I challenge yours, anyone can use drugs. Anyone. It depends on the mode in which you are given. If they put it in your food without knowing, if they put it in beans, in jollof rice, in fried rice, in cookies or cakes, how would you know? So we need to be very, and I'm so glad Lady Oak has begun the work. They're teaching us. This is a call for action. And we cannot afford to relent from this huge responsibility. And how do I expect Lady Oak to continue? Talk to our VCs or the leaders of those institutions and student unions. Particularly, you can start from your ICA area or your Delta. You can say, let us zero. You people are from that area. Why don't we zero on the institutions, on the religious organizations, the communities in the place where we come from? If we do that, some other people will go to Ondo, some other people will go, and then we can coalesce together and form a giant network. The religious organizations must be involved. The churches, must wake up to the reality of substance abuse. Many of our youth in the teenage church, they're using drugs. So let us not close our eyes. The traditional institutions must know who are the people selling drugs in the community. We know them. If I take you to a place in Lagos, I don't want to mention the place. The landlords know these young boys, but the thing is, what are we going to do about it? How do we help them to deal with that situation? It's so important. Lady Oak, Ashan, I wish you well, but I can guarantee you in this, let me give you a commitment. My organization, although we're just starting, I've led Kadam, I was there for 31 years, but I'm just starting my own. Our office and rehabilitation center will begin to operate in January. But we want to focus on professionals, on workers, on students, whether rusticated or not, or graduates. Those are people we want to focus. And we may charge, but it will not be like that because today rehabilitation has become extremely expensive. I know that in Lagos, they charge about $1 million a month. And then when they keep you there, your charge for 3 months, that's 3 million. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad that we're doing this together today. But I make a commitment to you. We'll help you. We'll work together with you and see what we can do. I wish you well. The time to act is now, and the work belongs to all of us. Thank you. Have a good morning. Right.
Thank you
I'm done.
so much. Thank you, Dr. Adedeji. Thank you. Can we all appreciate Dr. Adedeji for that excellent presentation? You brought the issues home. The first speaker gave us all the technical issues, all the, a lot of the technicalities, and you've sidestepped those, so to save time, and you were able to bring it down home to experience, to what's going on, and so we know that this has hit home. We appreciate you. We thank you. Just some of the strongest points that came out from your presentation: persons who are affected by substance use disorder are not criminals. They are children, they are parents, they have siblings, they are aunties and uncles, they are professionals, they are us. And so that we need to move away from that. And thank you also for all the encouragement you've given to us as Lady Oak to engage institutions. So thank you. I think at this point, I would like to invite Lady Oak, Thelma Oko, to take questions and to bring up all the questions that have come in so that our speakers can respond to them. Thank you again, Dr. Adedeji. Lady Thelma Oko.
Thank you. Thank you, Lady Delema. And also thank you to our speakers. They've been able to capture a lot of things. It has been really engaging for everyone, but for me, it has really been engaging and enlightening, because being a mother, it's called for concern. That's this issue of substance use disorder is becoming cancerous in our societies, eating deep into our society. And they have been able to digest and dissect what we need to do collectively as family. I've been looking at the chat box, and I think we have about 2 questions. Let me just read out the questions. If you have more questions, please feel free to share it on the chat box. We have our speakers here. They are professionals and they are experts in their fields in the industry. They'll be able to attend to these questions. But if you don't, if you want to remain anonymous, you can also private chat us. Then I can also present it as the case may be. The first question we have is from one of us. I won't, at this point, I would like to apply more sensitivity to some of the questions. She said, I have a question. Please, we as students that have not had the opportunity to volunteer to help in drug bodies or activist organization, how do we help the people around us that are addicted to drugs? So I don't know if you want to take the questions one after the other, or let me push the second question while we await more questions on the chat box.
I think we can
Do
take.
you want to speak to it, or
we can take the question, the first question. Yes. So,
okay. So,
Dr.
Miss, okay, Dr. Adedeji, I would appreciate if you can enlighten us this on how they can volunteer to be a part of this advocacy that you've started. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm sure after the meeting, you probably can give them my number and then I can share more with them. But I think one of the things that students can do, the student union must be involved in this. They must find a way of setting up. One of the things that I think NDLA is encouraging is to have drug-free clubs, so that if people can come together and say, let us begin to work in this direction. But in doing that, they must have the literature, the understanding that they require, and then because they are the ones who live with themselves, they know themselves. They can go to them and then let people self-report to them without giving names to the institution, so that the institution does not punish. If they also find that this institution has a counseling unit to which people can come and they can seek help, and then they are not demonized, I'm telling you, many more people will volunteer and many more people will come. But we need some people to form a nucleus of that group, and then so that they can push this. And then if they need people like us to help them, or maybe like Mr. Tuka, we can get a lot of literature, we can do a lot of training for them on how to go about it and help the school. Because the more the school has understanding of what is going on without demonizing, without punishing or expelling them, I'm sure they have a better setup of students, and then they can see the understanding, the empathy that flows from it. Because these people are not devils; they are good people. Many of them are very brilliant, but if we don't help them, they will lose it, and then their future is destroyed. I think that will be some ways in which I can give my help. And by the time we start up office, if the guy maybe on holiday, if he comes to Lagos, they can come and volunteer with us. And then we take them to the center. They can also share their own experience. And then they go back to school and share the experience of what they have learned. We'll be willing to help to work with you. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Adedeji. Mr. Tucker, can you say something? Do you have a group or organization or platform that they can volunteer to help in this advocacy? Is she here?
Can you hear me now?
Okay, please go ahead. Okay.
In my organization, we have what we call the Celebrity Drug Free Club. Not just that, we also have the Drug Free Club Society, which you have them in most of the universities. So what they do, they come together and form this club. There are rules and regulations binding this club. You must have the knowledge and you must have the interest to be part of this club. So it's almost in all the universities. The celebrity free clubs are those like your influencers, your models, you think they're doing so well in the industry and you want to be like them. So we have them in all the universities. They have to look around, check all the universities who have the procedure and the rules and regulations for being a member. So, and there's nothing, you don't need to have so much money to be part of such a club. The only thing we need for you is to live a drug-free life, that's all.
Okay, thank you so very much. For our students, you've heard her. For those that are not students that are on this platform, where can you direct, how can you, do you advise to go in case they need to volunteer? Because like Dr. Adedeji said, he is in Lagos. Anyone in Lagos that need assistance, that needs help, can contact him. He will make his contact details available for everyone on the platform. I hope he does that. And also you, should in case they need to approach your office. I know you have an office around Bagada, where is that an enforcement office or where they can reach out for any further engagement?
Feel free to reach out in all our offices. You know, we have about offices in our 37 states. So anywhere you walk into NDLEA office, they are ready and happy to receive you.
Okay, like you said, in their schools, they have little communities where they engage students that are ready to advocate for this drug-free society that we all are clamoring for. So as a student, what are the requirements for them to join?
Just be drug-free society. They have the rules and regulations they don't have. As long as you're a member, you are a part of that drug-free club. They have the rules.
As long as you're a student of the school.
Of the school, yes. You're free to do that.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you so very much. I hope that has answered the question. I'm going to look at the platform again. I have a second question, which says, okay, if a student is, okay, no, sorry. My question is, for those who are drugged at parties, we all know this happens. Like both of you earlier mentioned that you attend events, they put it in food, they put it in juice and all that, and offer their guests, and they get to take it. Automatically, we all know the person becomes either an addict afterward, and how can they become addicts to this drug at the first instance? Is it that whenever they taste it at that first instance at the party, they later become addicts?
Do you want to drop the question
they go back to it?
so that I now log out?
Drop the question.
What was your question?
Please. Sorry, someone is speaking. Please, can you are actually interrupting us, please. Please mute yourself when you are not so. Okay. Did you get my question, please?
Yes, I did. But we said it in the course of the presentation. We said in the course of that the fact that somebody takes it first time may not lead to addiction. But usually what happens is this, when in the space of experimentation, they usually tell them, oh, if you take it, it makes you play football very well, it makes you able to sing, you have concepts and intellectual concepts and this and that. And sometimes when they now give the person takes it and finds out it doesn't do that, the person may stop. But the person may then progress to say, it doesn't, maybe I should try a second time. There's a step to this thing. But there are some drugs, if you take it first time, like fentanyl, it can lead you straight, or maybe heroin. The first time use of heroin can lead you to addiction because of what it does. Truly what people must understand is this. When people take this drug, they feel high. But the high they feel is an illusion. It is just a perception. Oh, when I took it, it makes me feel like flying. It is not, what I tell people is not, if 10 people take it, and if only 2 feel like that, then you must know that it's perception. It is not real. So those are some of the things that people must know. The fact that you take it does not mean you go to addiction. But if you persist and seek other ways of using, you may lead to addiction. So people can take and then say, and stop. But the moment you begin to progress, it is difficult to stop on you, because what it does is when you take it, it begins to alter the chemistry of your brain. There's a center in the brain that produces dopamine, and dopamine is a hormone of pleasure. And when it gives you pleasure and a sign of floating, then you begin to say to yourself, oh, this is what it does to me. When my parents shout at me, when they get an if I take it, I feel cool. And that's the way addiction progresses. So it's not everybody who takes it that gets addicted, but it's the continual use and sustenance of it that leads to addiction. It depends on the individual in the initial stage. Thereafter, it may become difficult to live on one's own volition.
Wow. So the addiction part of it is when you become a frequent user, because I remember you mentioned first-time user, and regular user. So if you become a constant user, you
can lead to addiction
to that particular substance. Okay. Wow. So what are the common What are the common substances being abused in our community, and what makes them dangerous?
I think Lady
know
Chuka
Mr. mentioned a
yes.
lot.
Yes, a lot. See, the thing is, it is the availability that causes this. Availability. And because all these things are now totally available in this country, it gives room for addiction. You know, she mentioned, which I also said, there's synthetic opioids, tramadol, fentanyl, and all, because they are opioids, but they are created for treating people in the hospital. And because of the availability, people can use it. Whereas if you look at the synthetic marijuana, for instance, you know, before we know marijuana is marijuana, they call it weed. Many of the students today, or many of the people who use it, they don't even know what they use. They say, well, I use weed. But when you ask them, well, Colorado is a synthetic weed, Arizona is synthetic weed, Canadian loud is synthetic weed, Ghanaian loud is synthetic weed. And so these are some of the things that people just use. And there's something they call skunk. Skunk, people say, well, I use weed, but skunk is different from weed. Skunk is a combination of weed, dry leaves of pawpaw, and a bit of cocaine. So that's why it's so important that we have a knowledge of these things across board. And the availability of it is what the NDLEA is trying to do is to stop a way of trafficking. If we can interdict and there's not much of this drug coming in, because when they come in, they become domesticated and then use. They can't go out, and then so they begin to use it. So not letting it come in is very important, because the moment they come in, people use. And what we found during the COVID period was that people were concocting their own medication. Someone told me he was going to rehab. I said he was still using drugs. I said, how was it? He said what he did was they got.
Hello, Dr. Adedeji and Lady Thelma. Please,
yes,
I will interrupt for a bit. There's a student who's asked questions, and the person says that their battery is about to go off. So I feel like we should quickly address that before they drop off. So the
let's
question,
take the question.
Okay,
yes. So the question
is, what is
says,
the role of this organization to sensitize the youth in our tertiary institution of learning the effect of drug and substance abuse? Did you get question?
Seems to me about our marriage was not.
Maybe Lady Chuka can take that. Because that's, I think, the primary focus of NDLEA now, going to the institution. I can speak to you, but let her do that.
Okay. Can I get the question?
Can we have you?
Can I get the question, please?
Please go ahead. Okay, please. Okay. Please, what is the role of this organization to sensitize the youth in our tertiary institution of learning the effects of drug and substance abuse?
We have a vital roles for sensitization of youth on drug issues. Like presently where I am, I'm in charge of the NGO and Lysin. What do? We involve NGOs. We encourage them to register with us, get the forms, because as NDLEA, we can't get all the nook and crannies of the country. We use people like the NGOs are the ones doing the job for us. They are getting to the grassroots. We can't be everywhere at the same time. So we have them, once in a while, we register with them. We have a list of NGOs registered with NDLEA. So whatever activities you have for the year, we send information to the office. Or whatever programs you're having anywhere, NDLEA is always there to give you the support when it comes to resource person. Like you have programs in maybe Lagos or outside Abuja or anywhere, just write to NDLEA. We are ready to give you the little resource materials we have. We have the IEC materials, which we call the information educative materials. We also give you a resource person. If we are not there, because we can't be everywhere, we have commands in all the state commands. So these are the way we do to have these informations. And we go to schools to educate them. We have what we call the Unplug School program that was organized in all the secondary and tertiary institutions. We also have the calling programs like Mr. Adeteji said. Anywhere you are, you're free to call in, make your calls to our call centers. Whatever problems, if it has to do with drug issues or you have any information you need to drop with NDLA, we're also there to help you. We're in tertiary institutions, we're in the primary, we're in the secondaries. We go to marketplaces, we go to motor parks, drivers, we all engage in communications and creating awareness, telling them the dangers inherent in drug use. So we are everywhere. At the interdiction points at the airport, officers are also there. At the border points, we're also there. So we're everywhere. And that's why we're encouraging the NGOs like the Oak Ladies to partner with us, come to the office, we'll give you a form. So whatever programs, I bet you we are ready to support you in our own little way. Thank you.
Add something
Thank you
to
very
that.
much for that front
yeah.
answer.
Thank you, Lady Oko. Please let me just mention, I'm aware that there are some NGOs on the platform right now who work in Delta State because the students are still asking, can we get WhatsApp numbers and all of that? So I would suggest that if you're working in the sector and you're on the platform, please do identify yourself and reach out, drop your contact so that Lady Oak can reach you, and then we can create like engage everyone here that works in the sector. Thank you, Lady Oko, back to you.
All right, thank you so very much, Lady Belema. I think someone is also trying to find out about, please, is it possible to have medical help, like drug and first aid kits to our school and as a student? I don't know if Mr. Tuko can answer that. Mr. Tuka?
Is it possible?
It's possible. So what do they need to do? They just need to write.
Come again, the network is breaking.
Sorry?
I said, come again, your voice is breaking.
Okay, okay. Okay. The student is trying to find out if it's possible for your organization to provide medical help like drugs and first aids to their school as a student. In case they have, for instance, if they have that club and need maybe like first aid to help those students, like maybe a mini rehabilitation center for them to be able to align with your objective in bringing them out. And I think Dr. Adedeji should be able to throw more light also to that.
Let me say specifically, I don't think any institution should do that, to provide it at the level in which students can do. They can go to their medical unit and then to get the help they require. Because I don't think there's a medical aid kit to treat. It's not like in America, you know, in America they have, I forgot the name of this drug now. When they see them fall out on the street, they can give them to sniff and they can get up. But we can't begin to do that in Nigeria when we cannot supervise the use of regular drugs. We should not be able to do that kind of on-site medicating. I think it's better that people go to the medical center and then where they can seek medical help, and the school can help them get professional help if they cannot handle it, maybe in any of the hospitals. I think it will be very difficult to have it as a medical first aid kit in any institution. I will not support that at the stage we are in Nigeria. I don't think so.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Adedeji. We cannot subscribe to that because it's very risky. If we can't regulate, you know, we're trying to regulate and manage drug substance abuse, and yet we are having some gaps. So we don't think it's not advisable for any right thinking organization to risk that in the midst of students. You know what can happen. Thank you so very much about that. Mr. Tuka, do you have anything to say, or you just concur to this?
I agree with him because there was an incident that happened. I went to a school in Lagos to give a lecture. And usually when we go for such lectures, we go with our kits. We have our kits. In that kit, you have different types of, these are all sample kits. You have cocaine, you have heroin, you have cannabis, you know, for them to have a feel of how this drug looks like in case they come across it. I had to give out the kit for them to go through. Behold, by the time I got my kit back, the tramadol in the kit was missing.
Ah.
So
Wow.
yeah, it's risky. It's risky to do that, like you said, it's risky.
Actually risky. I agree with you. I quite
Because-
agree with you that it's quite risky.
Because the regulatory body, we are not so strong with our regulatory bodies, unlike in the developed countries. So it's very risky for us to do that, give them out the kits.
Sure, thank you for that. We also have questions. How do they want okay, someone, I think it's person's opinion, how do they want drug addicts to go for rehabilitation when it's too expensive for those that can't afford it? Is there any place that they can go to that is subsidized so that those that are addicted can be well treated, even at a very low cost? Is there any place you can recommend?
Let me speak to this and then get over to Lady Ochuka. I know NDLA does some bit of rehabilitation, virtually in all their centers. And I know even if they charge, it will not be as expensive as private rehab centers. Let me sound this note of warning. Anything in Nigeria that can be commercialized is commercialized in a manner that is detrimental to getting good management. So, but the thing is, it's important for people to know that rehabilitation is expensive. To set up a rehab center is very expensive. So people want to make back their money, but I think again, not in a cutthroat manner. When I was in Kadam, the one I was managing was free. We will go to these people, come and then we treat them for free for 1 year. And then the other center we set up for students and undergraduates, and so the people pay. But the payment, the fees they were paying was not comparable to the ones that private institution was charging. I know in Lagos they charge about, even Abuja, about 1 million, 1.5 million, 2 million per month. But that is not the essence of it. The most important thing we must do, prevention is better than cure. It's cheaper and better than cure. That's why we're doing what we're doing. So it's not, if you begin to go, because when somebody begins to go for treatment and rehabilitation, there's the possibility of relapse. How many times will you then go for rehab? The important thing is to give you the coping mechanism, the coping skills that help you stay away from drugs, and then you can be productive with your life. But by the time we start in a CCRI, I'm sure we will not charge that kind of amount for people to get rehab. But I know that in Angel you can get rehab for almost, it's not free as well, but it will not be comparable to what you get in private rehab. I don't know whether you can also ascribe to go to Kadam. I don't know now what they do, whether they charge or not, but I know it was free when I was there.
Thank you very much. So there are places they can actually go to. If you go to NDLA, they have a camp, a place that they use for rehabilitation. So, and also Kadam, right? We don't, according to Dr. Adedeji, he doesn't know if they charge now, but you know, at least it won't be as expensive as the private organization. Are profit-oriented, so they want to make money. But when we go to NGOs, I think they will, with the support of sponsorship and all that, they will be able to have a very reasonable fare. Yeah. Okay. So thank you very much for that. Someone also said so many youths are out there passing through a lot because of peer pressure, group influence. A lot of them have decided to join the bandwagon. Please, let's try and reach out to them. If there is a WhatsApp number to reach out to the NGO, I think they are talking to the speakers and also us, you know, Lady Oak. They said they will be glad to, if they can get the contact. So I think Lady Belema, please, can you make some of the contacts available? Our contact, you can reach us while we redirect you to the right channels for them to manage all your expectations when it comes to substance use disorder. I hope I've communicated to that. Also, someone else said in Port Harcourt, they have a lot of youth that are into it. You would like to get the resource person's contact so that they can have, I think, a similar webinar for them so that they can, create more awareness, orientation, redirect their steps, maybe through this campaign, telling them what's right, telling them the implication, how it affects their mental health, what kind of emotional trauma that affects their family. It's not just them, it's like seeing a madman. The madman doesn't have a shame. It's only the family that sees the person, that that, oh, this is my family member. The family members are the ones that carry the shame. So I'd advise youth, let's try and stay away from drugs because it's actually not friendly. It's not good for our health. And in the course of the presentation, I also heard the speakers they spoke a lot about alcohol. Alcohol addiction is also a substance that you get so addicted to, and for you to be able to come back to reality, you have to go through rehabilitation, because you see some people, they cannot do with alcohol. It's also addiction. It's its own, it's its own spec of addiction. It has its own brand. So let's try and be able to balance all this. And I think we have another question, because of our health center not equipped to drug addiction, and so I've had an experience. Okay, the person is trying to share. Okay, because I've had an experience with some drug addicts in my school who went to the health center and they let them go because they didn't have anything to help them with. So they sent them home and they became worse than they are. So that is why he or she is asking if they can help her out. It's a collective effort. We all hands have to be on deck for us to be able to change this narrative. It's becoming an epidemic. We all agree.
Okay, Lady Oko, there's a question
last
that
time
has not been...
we went to Agbo, we had that spoke a lot about the youth in Agbo. That is one of the things that informed us for starting the program that we are about to launch in Agbo, just for this advocacy campaign sake. Lady Belema, please, you're trying to say something.
Okay, so I'll be putting up phone numbers on the chat room. The participants can take those numbers and start from there. There's a question, we're almost going out of time that we haven't responded to. The question says, what are the physical signs of drug addiction? That's the question. Thank you. Lady Etuka, if you could help us with this. Yeah. Okay, it looks like Lady Etuka didn't get the question. So Dr. Adedeji, can you kindly assist us with that? The question is, what are the physical signs of drug addiction?
Okay. Because I know Lady Etuka tried to cover that during the presentation, but let me just enumerate some of them. When you see someone with reddish eyes, then you know the person. I'm not saying the reddish eyes alone means that the person is using, but that is one of the signs, or discharging eyes as if the eyes are watering. But let me also warn us, let us be careful about looking for physical signs. Many of the times, some of these young people have found a way. For instance, if somebody has reddish eyes and you want to say it takes marijuana, they can buy Vicin. If they use Vicin eye drop, it will clear the redness. So let's be careful about that. When you see the way they dress, the way they speak, some of the things they do, you will know that this person, many of them are on camp. Some of them have not had their bath in weeks. They don't brush their teeth. They don't comb their hairs. They dress in a manner that you say, is this person mad or something? And sometimes when you see people who wear sunglasses, even in dark spaces, let's say in closed places, in the sitting room at night, the person is wearing sunglasses, then you must know that there must be something wrong. Or when you see some young people, they're always wearing long sleeve. Those who usually wear long that you use it to cover needle marks. I mean, there are many ways in which
Little
you
maps,
can
yeah.
begin to see this thing. Or when they're dressing, their manner of dressing, they're losing weight, they look ill, and some of them are pale. Their eyes and they're pale, I think they don't have blood. Some of them go to donate blood as many places as they can in order to get some money. So those are some of the things you can see physically on people, and then you begin to wonder what exactly is happening. But I'm careful to label these people as drug users because you need to be very sure. So you don't see one sign and say, oh, this person uses drugs. You need a multiplicity of some of those things, and then you will know that the person is using substances. I hope that helped.
Yes, thank you so very much. Because we are running out of time, I think we have actually addressed most of our concerns, and I believe the participants also appreciate the fact that you and Mr. Tuka has been able to address this major concern for us. I will now hand over to, thank you so very much for that very in-depth answers. I'll hand over to Lady Belema so that we can wrap up the session. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Lady Oko, for helping us with all of those questions. So we have 2-3 minutes to go. And just before we round up, I think we can take 1 or 2 more questions. I see a question on the platform that says, what are the factors that cause drug abuse? It's been responded to, but someone is asking and has just asked. So it's possible that they didn't get it. So Lady Etuka, please, can you help us with that?
Okay. Factors that affect drug abuse.
Factors that cause drug abuse.
Peer pressure is one of it. Peer pressure, influence from friends or social circles can lead to drug abuse. We also talk about the mental health issues. Someone that has undergo mental health issues, conditions like depression, anxiety can get himself involved in drug abuse. Then genetics can also be part of it. A family history of addiction can increase the risk of drug abuse. Then advertisement, stress, depression, these are the things that can lead. Maybe you losing a loved one, somebody close to you, can also lead you to try drug abuse. Lack of education, we discovered that most of them, that a lack of awareness about the dangers of drug abuse can also lead you to get yourself into drug abuse. There are so many factors that can affect drug abuse, so many. Easy accessibility of the drugs. If you can access it in every nook and crannies of the society, it could lead you to that. Okay. Curiosity too is one of it. Experimentation also is one of it. There are so many, a whole lot of it that could lead you to drug abuse, drug use disorder.
Thank you so much. Just to let the participants know, please put your questions on the chat box and your comments, your feedback. We just dropped a number, and the phone numbers we dropped are already buzzing, and some of the things you're dropping there are better off put on the platform while you still can. But the ones you're sending directly to the numbers will be attended to, just so you know, but you still have 2 more minutes. Okay, Chuku. Okay, Chi, you were saying that your question has not been attended to, and I'm wondering which question,
Okay.
because
I think is was it the rehabilitation question? Okay, Chi,
Yeah.
just send the signal on the chat box. You can see a reaction. So
okay, if you've seen the question, Lady Thelma, you can please respond to it. She's
okay,
saying
yes,
that
she did.
not
They
been
did
attended.
respond. It was treated. Okay, but if you want us to still ask the question, I asked the question that is, how can a drug addict afford the rehabilitation center when it is expensive to those that cannot afford it? I remember that was when Dr. Adede said, depending on which of the rehabilitation centers. So I think probably you answer it again. Dr. Adedeji, Lady Etuka, sorry, Miss Etuka. You have made you a lady today.
Okay, is doctor taking the question?
Okay. I think I did, but let me just say, and then you can take it on. I said I know NDLA offers rehabilitation. They charge. When they charge, it's not that they say go and bring fees. It could be for your feeding, it could be accommodation and all the rest. But I know that charges cannot be as expensive as private rehabilitation centers. I know government hospitals like psychiatric hospitals also charge. They are also not expensive. But I don't think that anybody will find a free rehab center. We ran one when I was in Kadam. It was free. You just come in, we beg you for 1 year, we feed you, we clothe you, we house you. But I don't know what they do now. But again, I knew when I was there, it was a lot of stress raising money to cover because the church was giving a certain amount which was grossly inadequate. So like every month I needed to raise another 5 million to cover feeding, to cover salaries and all the rest of it. So I must say that it's very difficult for anyone except religious organizations to set up free rehab centers. It will be overwhelmed. So that's why the Lady Oak people are saying, if for instance, maybe by the time we started, if they have 5 people, they can help them to augment whatever will be charged. But it will be difficult to say, oh, you get a place that is free. The closest to that is probably the NDLA and CADA. I don't know where. So, but again, I would rather emphasize prevention. I would rather emphasize prevention than treatment. Treatment is expensive, so we must know that. But I know Mr. Chuka may have more contributions to make along the line. Thank you.
Okay. For treatment and prevention in NDLA, we have the rehab facilities in almost all the 37 states plus FCT. In my own facilities, it's not as expensive as the private sector because what you're giving to NDLA, it's what whoever that walks into the facility is what is going to feed on. His upkeeps, we'll just call it the upkeeps. And we don't really pay money, it's not so expensive. Just for the person coming into the facility, that's what you need to pay. And we have it in all the, so it's good they walk into any of the NDLA commands in all the federation. We have rehabilitation centers, we have facilities that harbors both male and female. Not as expensive as the private sector. The private sector is so expensive. And it depends, whenever we admit that, it depends on how buoyant you are. For those who can afford the private facilities, that can also go to private facilities. For NDLA, it's covered in all the state commands, and we receive clients every day. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, as speakers. We can't be grateful enough. I think we've had a very fantastic time, and the best feedback has come from the participants who are already chatting us up and sending messages and telling us that they've been greatly blessed and they're asking for more. So there isn't any greater feedback. So for our resource persons, we really appreciate you. We don't really have much that we can give you, but please do take home this feedback from the participants, especially the students. They are all very excited, they're all touched, and they're all saying that you guys, what you're saying, it's real. We are in the center of it. Please come help us. So I know that you both already know that because that is what you live and drink every day, and may God bless you for the work that you do. People choose different careers for money, for remuneration, but this is obviously a choice you have both made for service to humanity, and you have given everything that you have, and you continue to do so. We pray for you as Lady Oak Association. We ask the Lord to bless you, bless your families, and bless the work of your hands, and give you health, long life, and in the course of this work, that you will be safe and your families will be safe in Jesus' name. Thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Amen.
We also want to appreciate the Vice Chancellor for the Delta University of Delta. Thank you so much, Professor Stella Chiemeke, for making this happen, for partnering with us. Obviously, from everything that has gone in here, there is so much more. And we are glad that we believe that the passion you've shown, that you're going to help to be a champion for this cause, bringing together all the other tertiary institutions in the state and getting stakeholders to come and help you to move this forward. Thank you so much, Professor Chiemeke. And to our participants, we hear you. We hear you, we see you, and you can see that the speakers have already been with you on this journey. You have our contacts, reach out to us, and we're going to pull resources, pull more professionals and the network to come to your aid. We are all affected. We are you. We are here because we are you. We are us, we are parents, we have children, and we have siblings. So we're all in this business together. And the key message going out of here today is that everyone that is affected is not a criminal. There are no drug addicts, as it were. That balance needs to change. But there are people who are affected by substance use disorder. And it can come in any way, shape, or form at any time, to an adult, to a child, to minors, and it is that serious. It is a big issue, and this is just a scratch on the surface. We haven't even scratched it, but because we've had the confidence to take this step, I want to appreciate the executive of the Lady Oak Association, the president, the vice president, the ESCO, and all the members of Lady Oak Association, the 19 members, and our supporters, our volunteers, our donors, our sponsors who have helped to make this happen. Thank you so much. And I also want to thank the other NGOs who took time to log on to this. You've listened. You heard them say, I know there's an NGO from Port Harcourt here, and you heard the participants calling for help. So thank you, everyone. Let's do this again. Every good thing comes to an end. I know that we don't feel like living here. We just want to stay, but we have to go and we have to reflect and we have to take action. It's a call to action. Thank you. And to the participants, the link for the reimbursement of your recharge card is still on. We're going to leave the meeting open for another 5 minutes. So those of you who haven't filled out your details, do so you are not left behind. We want to support your participation with a token of 1,000 Naira. Thank you, everyone. God bless you. We can unmute ourselves now and give a shout out to our speakers, everyone.
Thank you.
God
Thank
bless
you very much.
Thank
Good, man.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lady Oak.
Thank you. Thank you.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we end by sharing the grace? Can we
I
end
love
by
you.
sharing the grace, please?
Thank you, Professor Dediji. You are
The
wonderful.
grace.
By
Let's take
sharing
the
the
grace.
grace.
So
Thank you.
let's take the grace. 1, 2, 3.
Lady Oak.
May
The
the
grace
grace
of our
of
Lord
our Lord
Oh,
Jesus
Jesus
Christ,
Christ,
the
The
love of
love
God,
of
love
God
of God,
and the sweet
and the
fellowship
fellowship
of
fellowship
the
of the
Holy
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 Spirit
Spirit,
Spirit
God.
be with us now
God,
abide
and
with us
forevermore.
now
Amen.
and
forevermore.
forevermore.
Amen. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Bye,
Amen.
everybody.
Bye.
See you.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
Cheers. Redmi, eh? Redmi, eh? Need to roll.
Our host, you can mute participants now and let the students to fill in their details. You can mute the participants. Thank you.
Yeah, so Belema, once again, put up the details for the link so that they can quickly
Mr. Bright,
leave us with their numbers, their phone numbers. Thank you.
Mr. Bright, the link, please. Thank you.
It's done so.
It's
It's there
on.
already.
It's done. Yes, done. It's there.
Congratulations.
Yes,
And
And
President.
there are still people online, so maybe we can just wait a bit before members can wait a bit.
Yeah, mute participants. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nancy, how you there? I salute you.
I did well, oh, thank you. Thank God. I don't know.